Hey, this is Frank at the RV Shop here in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Thanks for tuning in. Please remember to like and subscribe. It really helps the channel out. And this is a 2024 Luxe Cruiser D6 by Midwest Automotive Designs. It is a four-wheel drive. Has the beautiful upgraded wheel and tire package. It's got the roof rack with ladder, and I don't know if it's quite visible or not, but up there on top, you can just barely see it. This has the Starlink option, so it's outfitted with Starlink, ready for internet anywhere in the world, right? So we're gonna go over it and how to use most of its major features. So under the hood, you really don't have to come out under the hood for much. There is windshield washer fluid under a blue cap on this side, and you have your depth fluid on this side under a blue cap. It's labeled DEF, so can't miss it. Those are the two main things you would typically come under the hood for. Everything else is recommended to be done at your Mercedes dealer or at the RV shop. Going towards the back, there's not really a whole lot going on this side other than your fuel. Fuel goes in there, and you pop your hood right here. See that? Then we have our service side. This is RV related stuff here. So here, this is where you attach your 30 amp short cord. This is like a marine style connection. Then this is where you connect city water, pressurized water from a water hose, right? So that feeds into the RV to supply water to all your fixtures. This connection here, this is where you would attach a water hose to fill your onboard water tank. So this is water you take with you if you need water while you're on the road, while you're mobile, right? Now these two, those are flushes. So if you need to flush, you know, anytime you dump your black tank, it's always recommended that you flush the black tank after you dump it to ensure that the sensors work correctly. So you have a gray tank flush and a black tank flush. So you can flush both of those waste tanks after you've dumped them. Now, here, that's a storage tube. That's just a long, empty tube that holds your sewer dump hose. That's the hose that you attach here. Twist off that cap and connect the hose that's in that tube to dump the contents of your black or gray tank. Now you'll notice we have two of these connections. This one here, this is for your gray water, your gray tank. We have another one on this side. This one is for your black tank. A lot of people think that it's the black that's on this side, since the toilet happens to be on this side here at the rear, but it's actually crisscrossed. So you got gray on this side here, and you got black on this side. So they are separate. So moving on, we have our hitch. You have outlets here. You have HDMI out, TV out, and a 110 outlet here. Of course, we have our running board. Now we're gonna open this. This is an electric door, so you gotta, don't pull on it. You just give it a little tug and it opens for you. This van comes with 2 sets of headphones. Now the headphones in particular are for the rear TV. So these vans come equipped with a TV up here that's over the front cab area, the front seating area. And then they have a rear TV that's back here recessed into the door that goes into the bathroom. So they do have 2 TVs. However, the rear TV, you can only hear sound on the rear TV through the use of those headphones that are in that door pocket that I just showed you. They don't have speakers built into them, to that particular TV. That way you don't have two TVs fighting each other. Now, importantly, so if you're going to use anything in the back, it's important that we turn on our power here. So you got two power buttons. See that? Master power, refrigerator power. That's when power comes onto these touch control panels throughout the van. Right? Now that one that says BATCOM, there's nothing for you to do with that. There's no, you can press it, nothing's going to happen. That comes on automatically. Whenever the engine starts, that will join the engine battery for the front and then the RV battery for the back stuff. It joins them together so it can make sure that it charges both battery banks, right? So now that we have our power on, now we can use these touch control panels. Without that power on, none of these panels will work. So, as well as the TVs and all that. So, now that those are on, now we have power. Now we can go over some of the stuff that we have available to us. So, for example, we have these panels. You got several of these panels. We can do our master lights. That'll turn off all the interior lights. We can do the lights individually, like so. We can also, that's under our home button, we can go here and go to our climate controls. We can have cool on, which is the air conditioning, and we can have heat on, which obviously is heat. Or we can turn the system off, right? And we can adjust our fan speed between high, medium, and low, or let it run in auto mode. If we press this green button that says Fusion, that lets us control our Fusion radio that's mounted in the back over here. We'll get to see that here in a second. But you can basically control that Fusion radio that's back here from any one of these control panels, including the one up there that the driver has. So that radio is for the passengers in the back. If you, you know, the radio, the Mercedes radio in the front up here, that does not have speakers in the back.
How can I help?
Now, anytime you say the word Mercedes, it's going to wake up the assistant.
I'm sorry, can you say that again, please?
Cancel, Mercedes.
I'm sorry, but I can't help you with that right now.
As you can see, she's very sensitive to the word, the M word. We'll leave it at that, right? So, anyhow, so that radio only plays up there. It's got speakers up front. Most of them will have speakers in the dash and in the doors, but no speakers in the back. And that's where the Fusion radio comes in. Fusion radio has speakers up here in the front. It's got two speakers in the back, and it's got speakers underneath the running board that's just outside of this sliding door here on the side. So it is for the passengers, but it, like I said, it can be operated by the driver up there using that pad. Additionally, we have these little lap trays, like so, you can pull out. Very cool, huh? So those stow away. Now the seats have these built-in massagers. You can see. Now the massagers are on all 6 seats in here, as well as heating. See that little knob for the heat? You can turn on. Now the seats in the back. Seats in the back have these motorized footrests. That's the 3rd row. Additionally, you got USB ports like so. That blue button that you see there, that turns on power to the outside speakers. If that blue button is not on, like so, we have no power at the outside speakers. Now the Fusion radio, that's this radio right here. So Whenever you turn the volume on, you'll see that we have 3 zones. 1, 2, 3. So the zone 1 is these speakers up here. Zone 3 is the speakers over here in the back, by the back door, by the bathroom door. And zone 3 is the outside speakers that are outside underneath that running board on the outside. So outside speakers. Now this radio, we can, let's go back up here. Right now we're on aux 1. So aux 1 input, this is our input. Let's get out of this here. So this little arrow that you see here, that's for the input. So we can hit that. That takes you to the different inputs. So if I go to FM, well, I got FM, right? So we got FM radio. We also have AM. You can get into the AM settings. However, this is FM. But if you want to listen to sound for the TV in the front, that's on aux 1. If you don't have this set to aux 1, you won't get any sound on that TV. All the remotes for the TVs and whatnot are inside this satchel that's got all your owner's manuals and extra keys and whatnot. So sound for the front TV is on aux 1. Bluetooth, well, that's if you have your phone paired to this, you can listen to music over your phone or tablet or any kind of Bluetooth device. There's an HDMI port here. So you can actually, if you have an HDMI adapter for your phone, you could broadcast the screen on your phone up here. If you have a laptop that's got an HDMI out, well, that will be broadcast up here, which is pretty cool, huh? Now, as I was saying, so the TV in the back here in this door only works, the sound comes through the headphones that are in that front door, that right front door pocket. But those headphones, they have a little switch that says A, B, and off. So whenever the headphones are in switch position A, well, they'll receive sound from the front TV. When they're in position B, they'll receive sound from this back TV. When they're off, well, obviously they're off. Now the headphones do require the use of 2 AAA batteries. If you do, you know, they're not rechargeable. So I've heard some people say like, well, they should have used rechargeable headphones, but actually it's very clever that they do not use rechargeable headphones, because what happens quite often is people leave them switched on and they run, you know, the batteries down. Then you have to wait for them to recharge before you can use them. So the nice thing is, so if you carry a pack of AAA batteries, you can easily swap batteries whenever the kids forget to turn off the headphones and you're ready to use them again. So anyhow, so that's how those little headphones work. Other things to talk about. So we talked about these little control panels. You know, you can go into control setup and you can add different icons. Just be careful about adding extra icons to customizing any of these screens. Only add features that your van is outfitted with, because you can go in here into the settings and, for example, you could add a water heater. Well, this van doesn't come with a water heater. Just because you added a water heater or an intercom does not mean that it's going to have one, right? So be careful adding stuff. Now, other things that we're going to talk about. So you also have another screen back here. As you can see, that's our main screen. The way this stuff works, see these icons here on the side? Each one of those icons is a different page on this screen. So we have home screen, you can see we have different pages. So we're going to talk about this stuff and how to use it. So here on our home page, we have a light master. So by pressing that, we can turn all the lights off on at once. We also have a display that shows us our tanks. We can see our fresh tank, gray tank, black tank that I talked about earlier. So those, you can view them here and see how much stuff we have in there, right? So we can see that the fresh tank has 80% in there. That's our potable water. Our gray shows 10%, black shows 20%. So those do have a little bit of water because they were testing stuff and making sure stuff's working. So additionally, we have a water pump. Just so you know, blue is on. Grayed out like that is off. So this water pump is an on-demand pump. So right now, even though we're not connected to any kind of water, we can use the water that's in this water tank. So if I open the sink here in the back bathroom area, water will come out courtesy of this on-demand pump. Now that pump is not running, even though it's on right now. It's an on-demand pump. It only runs when it senses that you open the faucet or flush the toilet. It's not gonna, even though it's been on, it's not running. It's sitting there silently waiting for you to do something. So it's okay to leave that on when you're traveling. If you're using the stuff back here in the back, it won't run. It just sits there quietly waiting for you to turn something on. Now the other thing we have here is tank heaters. Now that is not to be confused with a water heater. That's not going to give you hot water at your sink. This van is not equipped with a water heater. This has tank heaters. Now what these are, just imagine an electric blanket that is glued to the underside of these tanks. And the purpose of that is to prevent your tanks from perhaps freezing if you're traveling through someplace, an area that is very cold, that's below freezing. You don't, water, if it gets below freezing, that could potentially damage the plumbing and stuff, anything that has water in this van. So that is the purpose of this tank heater that runs off of 12 volts. Also, this van is equipped with two different batteries. So you have a house battery and you have a chassis battery. So the chassis battery is the one that's for the engine, the type of battery that a normal car or truck would have. And then you have a house battery, and that's for all the camper related or RV related stuff that's here in the back. It's two independent batteries. So anytime the engine is running, that's charging both batteries. So as you can see, they are both charging right now. Normally these would be at like around 13 volts or so, but because we have the engine running currently, it's charging both battery banks. Normally you don't have to worry so much about voltage. The main thing you're going to be looking for is color. If you're monitoring stuff, keeping an eye on stuff, your main what I tell people usually is just keep an eye on the color. If you see green, that means things are good. That means the batteries are happy. If you see these turning yellow, that means they're getting low. If you see them red, the whole thing's fixing to shut down. So very rare you would see something like that. Usually they stay in the green. But just so you know, just look for the color. Green means good. So other thing we have here, we can adjust the set point of the AC or heater right here. You don't turn it on here. This is just to adjust the set point and see what that's set at. Another thing we have here, we have a link to this Fusion radio. We can operate our radio from here. Turn on the radio, turn it off. Same thing, the driver has that little panel where you can operate the Fusion radio as well. The Fusion radio is actually this radio that's right here, recessed into that side panel. But as you can see, anywhere you have one of these touch panels, you have access to control that radio. So back here to our home page. So from there we can jump over to our lighting page. In here, once again, we have our light master. We can dim the lights from here. We can put them at full brightness by holding the on. Exterior master, well, you don't have, this van is not equipped with exterior lights, so you don't have nothing to like, this doesn't do anything. We just have our interior lights to mess with. These are all dimmable by holding your finger on these buttons here. Additionally, we have this page that, again, this is our electrical page. Once again, this shows us our batteries and our inverter. Now the inverter comes on by default. Normally you want that on. It should always, like, normally this page you don't even have to look at it. It's just everything here runs in the background, runs automatically. The inverter is what's taking electricity from this house battery, taking 12-volt electricity and making 110 volts to feed stuff like TVs, like these front TV and the over here and the back TV, and as well as the microwave and the outlets that you find in the front and back, the 110 outlets. So this is taking 12 volts, making 110. So if you have this turned off, of course, none of this 110 stuff is going to work, right? Anyway, enough about that. So this page here has our HVAC controls. So here you can see we can turn on our air conditioner. We can press cool, right? And then it fires up for us. So here's where we adjust the temperature, or you can turn it off. Like right there, I turned it off. It'll take a little bit to turn off. There is a delay. You can also set it to heat, and that will give you heat. Just keep in mind the heat is going to take some time to get hot, because the heat works off of the engine. If the engine is, you just started the engine and it's still cold, it's just similar to the dash heat on the car or truck. It's going to take a little while for that heat to build up and give you heat. So additionally, we have this page. This has our internet. That's our internet router that's installed by Midwest Automotive Designs. There is documentation inside this satchel right here that you see right here. This has all our manuals, and including documentation on how to activate the internet. I believe through AT&T or Verizon, you can subscribe to internet service and basically make this whole entire van a hotspot. And this is where you would turn on that router. You can turn off the power to it. Then the last page is our page with our settings. Not a lot to do here. We can adjust the brightness on this screen. We can turn on cleaning mode. Cleaning mode will turn off the screen for 15 seconds to allow you to wipe the screen. You can set it to auto dim, so it dims according to the available daylight. Network diagnostics is mainly for technicians to do diagnostic work on the system if there's a problem. Mobile app, it does not have that capability. That capability can be added, however, if you wanted to be able to control everything from your phone via smart app. You can change it to Celsius. I don't know how you'd want to, but you could. Set the time. Floor plan is set at the factory. So that is your settings page, and that covers everything on this main control panel. Now back here in the back of the van, here is the shore cord that goes with this particular van. The toilet is a foot flush toilet. As you can see, the pedal sits right there. Here in that little compartment there is we have 110 breakers, right? Our 110 breakers for the 110 devices. And then you also have 12 volt fuses that live under this little cover for the 12 volt devices. You also have this hidden panel. Behind this panel, that's the circuit board. It's called a G12 board. That's the main brains behind that touch control system known as the Firefly system. You also have, this is your Cradle Point internet router. That's the one that Midwest installs here for internet hotspotting, in the van. Now the other thing we have here is this. That's the inverter. That's what's taking 12 volt power from the RV battery that's in the front under the hood on the passenger side, and turning it into 110 volts to feed 110 volt devices such as that microwave, the TVs, and other stuff. So normally you don't want to mess with any of these controls. That's paired to the Firefly system, and that's controlled through there, not through any of these controls. So refrain from pressing buttons here. Our Apple TV, that lives right there. That's where the actual box is. It's on HDMI 1 on the front TV, and the rear TV, you have to switch it to HDMI 1 to view the Apple TV. Other things we have back here, as I said, microwave, you got a nice sink, refrigerator. Now the refrigerator is a 12-volt refrigerator. That's the control for the temperature. All the way to the right will make it colder. All the way to the left will make it less cold, eventually be turned off. It also has a little lock here to prevent stuff from falling out while you travel. That round disc looking thing up there, that is the TV antenna for this van. Now we're going to wrap up this walkthrough by going over a few things on the front, on the cab. So some things on the cab. As I mentioned before, we have our controls, master power, and refrigerator. The refrigerator does have its own separate control. That way, let's say it's just you traveling, or you and your wife or husband or whoever companion here, and you do not need to use all the camper stuff in the back. Well, Midwest gives you a way to just run your refrigerator. Maybe you have soft drinks in the back, and you don't necessarily need to have everything else on, so you can just power the refrigerator. Now, other controls here. See those controls there? So this is how you activate four-wheel drive. The vehicle does, you know, that's what they call four high. That can be done at slow speed while you're traveling in slow speed. However, this here, that's for low. In order to activate for low, you have to be completely stationary, and you must have been in for high to get to that. So we have our radio, which is touchscreen, so we can get to stuff through there. The other thing we have is our climate controls are here. So we have climate controls, and we have a button here so we can open our sliding door, our side sliding door, through the use of that button. And of course we have our touch screen that allows us to get to some of the controls in the back, such as our lighting and whatnot. Now this radio on the dash does have some important neat features. So for example, we have a home page here. You can get the stuff through the touch, or you can press buttons either down here for the manual buttons like camera, or buttons here. So I can hit this home screen. You have it in three places. So you have home screen, and home screen. So there's, as you can see, there's three different ways you can get to the home screen. Also, you can directly access the cameras through the use of this button. That'll get you to the cameras. You can also get to the navigation by pressing this button. You can get to telephone, pair your phone to it, go back to your radio. Now, importantly, so let's say that you have this van. I showed you the internet router that's in the back you know, you can activate that internet back there if you want to have a hotspot here for your different wireless devices, such as the TVs. But you also have an internet router built into this Mercedes radio. So you can go into settings, go into system, go scan up till you find Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. Get to Wi-Fi, there's Wi-Fi. Activate vehicle hotspot. So right there it's been activated. You can see right there that we are online 4G LTE. generate security key, so we can right there it generated a password to be used with the system, or you can go here and have it generate a QR code that you can scan to connect to the internet. Now the internet here, of course, it's not free. I mean, it does cost money. I think it's got an introductory period where it can be used here for free when you first get the van. However, you're going to have to set it up. You know, it's subscription based, so at some point you do have to pay for it, right? So for that, you're going to want to download the Mercedes app. There is an app. It used to be called Mercedes Me. I think now they changed see that label? It says Mercedes Me. I do think that recently they changed the app. I think it just says Mercedes now with a similar logo. But with that app, you can do a lot of other interesting things to interact with this van. Including activate the internet, activate remote start capability, different things, right? So this amazing van has a total of 3 internet options, because the third option is, of course, the Starlink that I mentioned earlier in the video. That's a brief overview of some of the other things that are important about this van. You do have power seats, and those are the controls are in the door, as well as memory, as well as heated seats. The button for the front heated seats is there on the door. Now additionally, you have these little cubby, little storage areas up here, 3 of them across the top. Now the middle one is a wireless charging pad that's built into the top. You have 3 USB ports and a 12-volt outlet there. So that's kind of cool, huh? So important to note, those USB ports are all USB-C. They're not USB-A. So make sure you get USB-A cords in order to be able to charge from those ports. The one on the left connects to the radio for Android Auto or Apple CarPlay. The 2 on the right are just charging ports, but again, they're USB-C. Now the charging ports that are in the back of the van, those are USB-A. So you have 2 different kinds of ports: the old school USB-A in the back and USB-C in the front. Now an interesting thing about these vans, there is a 12-volt outlet under the skirt of this seat here. They all have this. So see that? You ever needed a 12-volt outlet here between the seats? You got one right there hidden. And that's pretty much true of any Mercedes Sprinter van. Another thing, I'm gonna wrap up this video here, but I will leave you with one additional important note. So these Mercedes key fobs communicate with the computer for the engine that allows you to start the engine when you have the fob in the cab. If one of these fobs is not in the cab, when you go to press start, put your foot on the brake and hit start, it's going to tell you in so many words that it will not start because it needs a fob up here, right? There may come a day where you have the fob in your pocket or up here somewhere, and you go press the start button, and it tells you basically in so many words that it's not going to start because it needs a fob. And you're thinking, well, I have my fob up here. Because these communicate with the computer via radio frequency, there may come a time where you're someplace where there is a lot of radio interference and this thing cannot communicate with the computer, therefore you're stuck. So what you do at that point, you have to get your fob, and there is a little hole down here at the very bottom. It's kind of hard to see, but you'll have to trust me. There's a hole right there where this fob fits into. Fit it in there nice and snug, put your foot on the brake and start it, and it'll start. That bypasses the radio signal, and it's going to direct start the vehicle. You still have to put your foot on the brake and press start, and it will start. And then remove the fob from the little hole in the bottom, and you'll probably never have to do that again. It is very rare, but it does happen, or it can happen from time to time. So you need to know what to do should that ever happen, otherwise you'll be stuck. And with that, I will conclude this video of this 2024 Midwest Automotive Designs Luxe Cruiser D6. And please remember to like and subscribe to the channel. Have a fantastic day.